Ladies and gents, welcome back to FC Show Predicts for Game Week 2 of the Premier League. We are still a little bit rusty, but hey, so are half of the teams in the league. Let's take a quick look at Game Week 1 predictions and see how good or bad we did, and then we'll roll straight into this week's predictions. Let's go. So as you can see, we didn't do too bad in our Week 1 prediction, but it's also not the best one that we had. So let's start from the first one. Brighton were hosting Fulham. Our tip was Brighton double chance combined with both teams to score with the juicy odds of 2.05, and the actual result was 1-1, so we hit our tip for that one. The following match, Tottenham were hosting Burnley. Our tip was Tottenham to win by at least 2 goals, Asian handicap minus 1.5 with another juicy odds of 2.37. They went ahead and won 3-0, so we hit that tip. And the following match, Aston Villa were hosting Newcastle. Our tip was Aston Villa double chance combined with under 4.5 goals, meaning 4 or less goals in the game, with the odds of 1.72. So we hit that tip. And the following one, Wolves were hosting Manchester City. Our tip was Manchester City to win combined with under 4.5 goals with the odds of 1.85. We predicted that precisely, so City won 4-0 and that was under 4.5 and win for City, so we hit that tip with the odds of 1.85. And the next two we missed the tips, but we predicted the correct winner. The first one, Manchester United were hosting Arsenal, and we predicted that the Gunners are going to win that game. The odds for that was 1.95, so we predicted that right. And our tip was both teams to score. Unfortunately, Manchester United couldn't score in that game, so we missed the tip. And the following match, Liverpool were hosting Bournemouth. We missed the tip on that. Liverpool to win combined was under 4.5 goals, so we missed the under 4.5 part. But we did predict the correct winner, that Liverpool are gonna win. Our predicted score was 3-0, which would be minus 2.5 Asian handicap, but Liverpool won by 2 goal differences, so that was minus 1.5, which whoever took advantage of would be great for that Asian handicap. And the following match, Leeds were hosting Everton. Our tip was both teams to score with the odds of 1.80. Actual result was 1-0. Leeds scored in the last minute. We missed that tip. The following match was Chelsea were hosting Crystal Palace. Our tip was both teams to score in that one also, but nobody wanted to score in that game. That one ended 0-0, surprisingly. And the following match, Nottingham Forest were hosting Brentford. Our tip was Forest double chance combined with under 3.5 goals, meaning 3 or less goals. Nottingham part hit, but we missed the under 3.5 goals. Brentford had to score. And the last game was Sunderland were hosting West Ham. Boy, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but I could not believe West Ham got demolished 3-0 by Sunderland. Our tip for that game was West Ham double chance combined with over 1.5 goals. We hit the over 1.5 goals obviously, but West Ham double chance, forget about it. They got demolished there. So yeah, that's how we did in our game week 1. Let's jump into game week 2 and try to do better than that. Let's go. First match of the week, West Ham will be hosting Chelsea. What on earth was that? West Ham losing 3-0 to Sunderland, to the team that just unpacked their Premier League luggage. Literally. That's like losing an arm wrestling match to your cousin who just had a Happy Meal. Like, that was unbelievable. But hey, like, I don't want to take away anything from Sunderland. They came in like a wrecking ball. Very well played, Sunderland. Now, Chelsea. Different story, but the same headache. Couldn't even beat Crystal Palace at home. After beating PSG and other big teams on their preseason, boy, that, like, I was confident that they're gonna beat Crystal Palace. I'm not saying Crystal Palace are weak. They just beat Liverpool in the Community Shield and won that trophy. But still, I was expecting Chelsea to put up a better fight at Stamford Bridge. They actually let Crystal Palace score first, only for VAR to play spoiler and cancel Eberechi as his goal. Chelsea had 71% possession and 19 shots, but only 3 shots on target. Looking at the history between these two, The last time they met at Stamford Bridge, that was back in February, Chelsea edged that game 2-1, and the last time Chelsea came to West Ham's ground, it was a beautiful 3-0 job by the Blues. So yeah, West Ham fans might want to cover their eyes this weekend. My score prediction for this match is 1-2 for Chelsea, and my tip is Chelsea double chance combined with both teams to score with the odds of 2.05. On to the next one. Manchester City will be hosting Tottenham. This is gonna be a good game. Spurs, wow, you didn't disappoint. I predicted 2-0, but you went full on overachiever mode and won the game 3-0. Now when it comes to Manchester City, they're already flexing like the season belongs to them. 4-0 away win at Wolves. Unbelievable. Eric Haaland grabbed 2. Of course, that's a standard procedure for City. And then you've got the new shiny toy. Reindeers on the score sheet as well. City's message is clear. We are not here to play. We're here to collect records. And thanks to that goal difference, they are chilling at the top of the table after just 1 week. This matchup though, it's pure entertainment because Spurs are in their post-Kane and Son era, but clearly they're not interested in sympathy stories, right? They want wins, and that's what they're doing so far. And here's the spicy stats. The last 2 times Spurs visited City, a 3-3 draw, and before that a 4-0 thrashing for Spurs, believe it or not. And that's right, City haven't beaten Spurs at home for the past 2 years. It's like Spurs come to Manchester with cheat codes. So now the question is, can Pep finally crack the Tottenham glitch this time? Or will Spurs pull another Etihad masterclass? So that's the big question for this weekend. But when it comes to my score prediction, I'm predicting this game low scoring 1-0 for Manchester City, and my tip is Manchester City to win combined with under 4.5 goals, odds 1.95. But to be honest, if they're gonna go bonkers and just score 6-7 goals in that game, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm expecting a low scoring one in this one because City might be a little bit careful to face this new Tottenham. So that's my prediction for this game. On to the next one. Bournemouth will be hosting Wolves. Bournemouth started the season looking like they forgot that Premier League doesn't hand out participation trophies. They'll need to shake things up quickly because right now their attack looks as dangerous as a water gun and a hurricane. Wolves on the other hand got absolutely torn apart by City 4-0. But let's be real, losing to City is basically a Premier League tax at this point. It's guaranteed. Haaland pays you a visit, you pay him 2 goals. Standard procedure. But still, Wolves need to prove they can bounce back. Otherwise their season could turn into a long game of try not to finish 17. Bournemouth haven't been able to defeat Wolves in their last few tries, but Wolves aren't exactly flying either. And honestly, this feels like one of those matches where the scoreboard operator might take a nap. So the question is, will Bournemouth finally wake up at home, or will Wolves remember how to actually score against someone not named Manchester City? My score prediction for this game is 2-0 for Bournemouth. And when it comes to my tip, I had to find something really good as always, because we always try to find something 1.70 and over, and we don't go for 130s, 140s. So one thing that I found interesting in this one is Bournemouth to score over 1.5 goals with the odds of 1.80. Looks pretty good to me. On to the next one. Brentford will be hosting Aston Villa. Aston Villa, what was that first half against Newcastle? 0 shots. Not even 1. I'm not even talking about shots on target. They had 0 shots against Newcastle in the first half. And meanwhile, Newcastle rattled off 8 like they were playing target practice. But to be fair, Villa woke up a little bit in the second half, but then Ezri Konsa decided to spice things up and with a red card in the 66th minute, messed it up for Aston Villa. But still, credit where it's due, Villa somehow managed to hold on to that 0-0 scoreline and did not lose and did not concede. Ugly, but effective. And Brentford though, they went toe to toe against Newcastle, but still ended up on the wrong side of a 3-1 loss. It was one of those games where you play well enough to convince yourself that you deserved more, but the scoreboard tells a different story. That's exactly what it was. Now they've got to bounce back, but facing Villa, not exactly the soft landing they were hoping for. And here's the kicker. Brentford haven't been able to beat Villa in their last 7 meetings. That's 4 wins for Villa and 3 draws. So the question is, can Brentford finally break the Villa curse? Or are we about to see another Villa win or another draw? My score prediction for this match is 1-1 draw, and my tip is both teams to score combined with under 5.5 goals, meaning 5 or less goals in the game, odds 1.85. On to the next one. Burnley will be hosting Sunderland. Burnley? Yeah. The scoreboard against Spurs says 3-0, but honestly, it wasn't the disaster it looks like. They actually put up a good fight. At times they even made me nervous about backing Spurs in that game. And if you want to know some stats, Spurs had 16 shots and 6 on target. Burnley answered with 14 shots and 4 on target. Now Sunderland, what a comeback story, boys. Freshly promoted and already pulling off upsets like they've been in the Premier League for years. A 3-0 win over West Ham to kick off the season? That's not just 3 points, that's a statement. Their fans might be thinking, relegation fight? Not this time, lads. And here's a little bit throwback. The last time these two sides met was back in January, and that game ended 0-0 and it was a championship match. But when it comes to this game, the way Sunderland just ripped West Ham apart, don't expect this one to stay scoreless. So my score prediction for this match is 1-1 draw, and my tip is both teams to score, odds 1.90. On to the next one. Arsenal will be hosting Leeds. Arsenal went to Old Trafford and did exactly what we predicted, beat Manchester United, but it wasn't a walk in the park, to be honest. United made them sweat, but Arsenal showed their true championship mentality, if you can call that. Now, did Arsenal have a fantastic game and outclass Manchester United? I'm not gonna say that. That was a super close match, and I still stand with Manchester United is gonna have a much better season this year than the previous season. Leeds, on the other hand, they're here to make some noise. Monday night against Everton, first half was pure domination. They had 62% possession and 12 shots. While Everton, you ask me how many they had? Absolutely nothing. 0 shots. 0 threat. Nothing. Leeds looked like they were hosting a training session. Seriously. But second half? Yeah, that was a little bit more tighter than the first one. And that penalty goal from Lucas Mecha sealed the 1-0 win for the home team. And Leeds, they didn't just survive their first big test. They passed it with authority. So now we have got Arsenal, title contenders, versus Leeds, the fearless newcomers. A classic Premier League clash of power versus underdog energy. Can Leeds really rattle Arsenal at the Emirates, or will the Gunners keep firing on all cylinders? And when it comes to my score prediction, 3-0 for Arsenal, and my tip is Arsenal Asian handicap -1.5, odds 1.77. On to the next one. Crystal Palace will be hosting Nottingham Forest. The game will be on Sunday. Crystal Palace really showed up at Stamford Bridge. They went toe to toe against Chelsea. They even had Eberechi as his early goal ruled out. Palace really proved they can frustrate the big boys and cause real problems in that game. Nottingham Forest, meanwhile, reminded me why you cannot write them off. No Anthony Elanga? No problem. Chris Wood dusted off his scoring boots and hit a brace, and Dan Doy saw that and he decided to join the party and get on the score sheet as well. Forest didn't just win that game, they looked sharp, confident, and like a team that can actually spread goals around. And here is a cheeky stat. The last 5 times these two faced each other, 4 of them ended in draws. Yep, 4 of them. And the one that didn't end in a draw was 1-0 narrow win for Nottingham Forest. So now the big question is, are we getting another cagey tight draw? Or will one of these teams finally break the pattern and style? Let's wait and see. But my score prediction for this match is 1-1 draw. And my tip is both teams to score, odds 1.74. On to the next one. Everton will be hosting Brighton. Brighton come into this game with a little bit of a heartbreak fresh in their mind. Against Fulham, they started the game on fire, scoring in the 4th minute, but unfortunately that was ruled out. But they kept the pressure for the entire game though, and converted a penalty through Matt O'Reilly, but unfortunately Fulham scored in the last dying seconds. That was painful to see that 1-1 at the end. Everton on the other hand had a rough Monday at Leeds, getting blanked 1-0. For a full 45 minutes in the first half, they barely left their own half. Like, they had 0 shots, 0 everything. They didn't have anything at all. They were just surviving, literally. It was horrible to see Everton like that. The last time these two faced each other, the game ended with a narrow 1-0 win for Everton. We can expect some battle in this one. I just cannot pick the winner in this game. Like, I would give a slight edge to Brighton, but I also cannot see them getting this win in an away match. So my score prediction for this match is 1-1 draw. And my tip is Everton double chance combined with over 1 goals, meaning 1 or more goals in the game, odds 1.72. On to the next one. Fulham will be hosting Manchester United, another really good game that I'm looking forward to. Fulham pulled off a real late drama against Brighton, snatching a point with a Rodrigo Muniz goal, scoring in the 6th added minute. That was a nightmare for Brighton. It was unbelievable. And when it comes to Manchester United, let's talk about that Arsenal game, okay? Ruben Amorim had to say this: "Today we showed everyone that we can beat any team in the Premier League after losing 1-0 at home." I mean, you gotta admire the confidence, right? But why would you say something like this after losing the game? But when it comes to the game itself, yeah, like I was really impressed with Manchester United's game. I was more impressed with United's game than Arsenal, to be honest. Cunha was playing Messi mode, dancing past 4 defenders and only narrowly missing that goal. That would be a goal to remember for a decade, seriously. The way he maneuvered 4 players and then went one-on-one, he just missed that. That would be a beautiful goal. I really loved Manchester United's game, and I'm gonna mention it again, like they should be having a good season this year. You may ask me why United couldn't score. I mean, they had so many chances. But that chemistry with the new signings, it's still work in progress. I mean, don't get me wrong, you cannot just drop a good player in there and expect from game week 1 to outclass our Arsenal in the first week. So it was something expected. I hope that chemistry is gonna improve, and I'm loving how they're playing. And the fun fact is, the last time these two teams faced each other was back in March in an FA Cup match. That game ended 1-1 draw, but Fulham took it to the penalties and won it there. But when it comes to my score prediction, I don't want to upset any of the fan base, but hear me out. 1-2 for Manchester United, and my tip is Manchester United double chance combined with under 2.5 goals, meaning United to score 2 or less goals in the game, odds 1.94. And the last match of game week 2, which will be played on Monday, Newcastle will be hosting Liverpool. Week 1 set the Premier League on fire, and Liverpool versus Bournemouth was the perfect opener for sure. Reds went 2-0 up, got a bit too comfy with that scoreline at Anfield, and then boom, Bournemouth clawed it back to 2-2. And those goals, Gakpo's second, absolutely prime Messi vibes, seriously. And let's not forget Chiesa and Salah lighting up the score sheet. Picking the man of the match for that game, impossible. Like, I enjoyed that game so much. Newcastle, meanwhile, had a solid showing against Aston Villa, even without their star boy Isak. So expect some extra fire from the Magpies, right? They'll want a little revenge for losing their talisman to the Reds. So this game is gonna be really interesting to watch actually. it could easily become a goal fest that we don't want to miss. So when it comes to my score prediction, 1-2 for Liverpool, and my tip is Liverpool double chance combined with both teams to score at 1.95. And that's all, guys. I miss football so much. I'm so glad it's back. Please don't forget to be active. Leave your comments and predictions in the comment section. Until next time.